This is Land of Havilah, Isaiah 35. It's 10 verses. This is another prophecy that begins mysteriously, but by the time we're halfway through, we're starting to get the idea, and by the end it gets pretty obvious. Whereas the last chapter described the miserable land God's enemies will inhabit, this chapter describes the wonderful land His own will inhabit. Verse 1. The wilderness and the dry land will be glad. The desert will rejoice and blossom like a rose. It will blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. Lebanon's glory will be given to it, the excellence of Carmel and Sharon. They will see Yahweh's glory, the excellence of our God. Strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. Tell those who have a fearful heart, be strong, don't be afraid. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, God's retribution. He'll come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind will be opened, and the ears of the deaf will be unstopped. Then the lame man will leap like a deer, and the tongue of the mute will sing. For waters will break out in the wilderness and streams in the desert. Comment in verses 5 and 6, everyone is healed. Those who used to be blind can see. Those who were deaf can hear. Those who were lame can now leap like a deer. The mute will not only be able to talk, they'll sing. Jesus did some dramatic healings in the Gospels and has been doing some dramatic healing on a spotty basis ever since, but in the coming day, healing will be categorical and universal. Everyone will be healed of everything. In verses 1 and 2, the landscape will be nothing like Edom in the last chapter, which morphed into burning sulfur and pitch. This landscape will morph in the opposite direction. What used to be desert wilderness will bloom and blossom abundantly. The land will rejoice with joy and singing, and the people as well. Isaiah's point in verse 2 was that Lebanon, Carmel, and Sharon were excellent and glorious places in his time, but in the coming day all places will be excellent and glorious. It'll be paradise. And whereas Lebanon was known for its forests, and Carmel for its mountaintop view of the sea, and Sharon for being a flat and fertile plain, so we might conjecture the landscape of that place will be wonderful for its variation. In verses 3 and 4, take heart, though you might have weak hands in the present and can't get much done, your hands will be strong and capable. The same with feeble knees and fearful hearts. Don't worry about it. Be strong and unafraid, because God will come with vengeance. He's insulted with the way things are at the present. He'll come and save you in verse 4 and heal you in verses 5 and 6. This is the land of the saved and healed. In verse 6, waters will break out in the wilderness and streams in the desert. By now we know it's not just the landscape, it's also that men will be as marvelously alive as the landscape. We'll no longer feel dry, unsatisfied, unfulfilled, unhappy, or anything of the sort. But the best part is in verse 2, quote, they'll see Yahweh's glory, the excellence of our God. Paul said we'll see him face to face, 1 Corinthians 13:12. Going on in the same vein in the last 4 verses of the chapter, verse 7, the burning sand will become a pool, and the thirsty ground springs of water. Grass with reeds and rushes will be in the habitation of jackals where they lay. A highway will be there, a road, and it will be called the Holy Way. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it'll be for those who walk in the way. Wicked fools will not go there. No lion will be there, nor will any ravenous animal go up on it. They'll not be found there, but the redeemed will walk there. Then Yahweh's ransomed ones will return and come with singing to Zion, and everlasting joy will be on their heads. They'll obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. Comment in verse 7, in the present age, the ignoble jackal haunts dry wilderness areas, but in the coming age, the land will be plush with pools of water fed by springs. Beautiful reeds and rushes will grow at water's edge. In verse 8, a highway will be there called the Holy Way. There'll be no wicked fools on it. It'll be for those who walk in holiness in the holy way. The point isn't so much that the place will have nice roads, but that the people who inhabit the place will be holy and wise. In verse 9, no lion or ravenous animal will be there, meaning nothing and no one, destructive, evil, or violent. Rather, only the redeemed will walk there. Then in the last verse that completely gives it away, quote, Yahweh's ransomed ones will return and come with singing to Zion, and everlasting joy will be on their heads. They'll obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. We're ransomed ones. Let's not forget the price of the ransom, which was the crucifixion. Isaiah 36 is next.